I don't know, gluten-free seems pretty difficult to me because that gluten be tasting good. It was just really a big bag, but it was delicious. I loved it. Damn, that was a word. The body hair is coming up in places you didn't expect. So we are done with 75 hard. Welcome back to A Life of Delusion. My name is Q. Here on this channel, we're talking about leveling up, self-development, curating, creating your best life. Thank you for joining me on this video. This is like a momentous occasion because I finished 75 hard. This is my first time ever doing 75 hard, honestly doing anything like this, and I have a lot to say. So let's get into it. If you haven't seen part one, I recommend go taking a look at that first, just so you can see how we got here. Also, I had a vlog for the first half. Sorry I didn't vlog so much the second half, or not like 75 hard specific stuff. It was just general vlogging, so I don't have a lot of like trials and tribulation, but it was more the same, with the exception. Actually, let me hold off on that comment. But yeah, it was generally more of the same. So I'll touch on kind of what the second half looked like, and what the differences were in the second half as compared to the first half. But it was just maybe one or two things different. So we're going to talk about diet. We're going to talk about exercise, the books I read, kind of my mental health during this time. How I felt physically, tips and things I would take with me moving forward in life. Actually, let's do tips on completing 75 hard successfully. Things I'm going to continue to incorporate into my life. We're going to talk about the results, of course, and like my final thoughts and would I do it again. So let's start with the components of 75 hard. If you didn't watch the first half, or you're not familiar with 75 hard, it is I don't know what to call it really. It's not a diet. It's like a lifestyle focus period in your life. So it's 75 days of focused time on your physical health, your mental health. And I think those are kind of the main components of it. But it is comprised of 1 gallon of water per day, following a particular diet for 75 days. And it's any diet of your choosing. It can be paleo, can be vegan, can be carnivore, it can be, keto, whatever you want to choose, vegetarian, whatever you choose. I did a pescatarian diet, also taking out dairy. That was my choice, just because I feel like those would be the most impactful without being too restrictive. So challenging, but not, boss level challenging, like vegan, or I don't know, gluten-free seems pretty difficult to me because that gluten be tasting good. But yes, I picked pescatarian, no dairy for my diet. You also have to exercise for 45 minutes a day. You have to exercise for 90 minutes a day. 45 minutes has to be outside. You have to read 10 pages of nonfiction. People generally do like self-help, or business books or something like that, something along the line to help you improve your quality of life. And you have to take a progress pic every day, so just to monitor how your body is changing over the course of the 75 days. You take one progress pic. I actually took two. I took one like front facing and one side facing, because I feel like that would kind of give me the best look at how both angles were changing. I wish I would have done a video, and I wish I would have done one from the back, but I'll keep that in mind for next time. So let's talk about the exercise I did. We talked about the diet. Yeah, so let's backtrack. Let's talk about my diet first, and how it changed from the first half to the second half. So I did pescatarian, no dairy. And then right about at the halfway point, my gym was doing like a 8-week challenge for fat loss or muscle gain. I chose the fat loss route, and I ended up losing, I think, right around 10 pounds. So the second half, no dairy, pescatarian, and I also went into like very, very limited sweets. It went down to like once a month, and then eventually none for like the last 5 or 6 weeks. Also started tracking my protein. Had a goal to hit 50 grams of protein per day. I don't think I ever hit 50. It was like if I got over 100, that was doing something. So, but that's still a goal of mine. So, just trying to track my protein. So those were the only changes I made from this first half to the second half of my diet. Exercise didn't change at all. Walking, jogging, running, stretching, yoga, and some weightlifting. Those were kind of the main components. I didn't do anything. I wasn't figure skating or, rock climbing or anything like that. Just kind of easy, accessible things that I could do regularly. The books I read in the second half: You Are a Badass at Making Money, Sun Tzu for Women, and I started into Mastery by Robert Greene. Yeah, those were the books. In the first half, I'm gonna go back and read what I read in the first half. First half, I started with 12-Week Year, Game Changer, Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza, another game changer. And I started You Are a Badass at Making Money, and I brought that into the second half. So a total of 5.5 books, and that Joe Dispenza one is pretty thick. So we'll call it 6 books. So 6 books. So took me about 2 weeks to get through a book or so, reading 10 pages a day. Some days I did more, some days I did less. But yeah, those are the books. The ones I would recommend are Becoming Supernatural and the 12-Week Year. Again, the 12-Week Year is very much life changing. That's something I'm definitely going to do again and again and again. I'm actually in my second 12-week year now. I accomplished all my goals. If you want me to do a video on my 12-week year and how I kind of break it down, let me know in the comments. Because again, I highly recommend. If you basically put 12-week year and Atomic Habits together, that's it. That's like the secret. That's the secret if you ask me. So that's it. Mental health, same as before. There were hard days. There were days where it was pouring down, raining, or rainy throughout the day, and I had to get outside for 45 minutes. There were days I was just tired, like physically tired, mentally tired, or stressed, and I didn't feel like going outside, or didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like reading a book. I didn't feel like drinking all this water. I didn't feel like I wanted a cheeseburger. There were days like that. I had to get through them and find a way to push, and just something internal led me and pushed me to complete this mission, and I'm glad I did. So it's all, and everything is in your head. All of it's in your head, whether you do something, don't do something, think something, feel something. All of that is in here. None of it is external. None of it is decided from your external environment. It's all coming from inside out. Damn, that was a word. Next up, physical. So let's get into the progress pics. I'm going to compare day 1, day 75, and it is a marked difference. I mainly look at the side profile pictures, and you can see a big difference. Even like everything, like my back fat, up top and the middle section. My butt is, I don't know, definitely lost some extra. Total weight loss was about 11 pounds. I think 2 or 3% body fat drop, 2 or 3% body or muscle gained. So yeah, I'm proud of these pics, and all of this was done without even, like, the exercises. You can't really get around that. I would say maybe half the time my exercise was vigorous, for the 90 minutes, or vigorous for even the 45 minutes. But most days it was just walking and or stretching. I wasn't beasting it every single day and just burning it out and burning 900,000 calories, in exercise. It was just, brisk walking and stretching. So, for half the time, and half the time I would do running and cardio and HIIT and that kind of stuff. So, and then my diet also wasn't like super clean or specific, or I ate takeout. I ate, out at restaurants. It was just limited to the categories of food that were within my dietary guidelines. So I didn't stray from the pescatarian or the dairy, but it wasn't salads, nonstop either. I don't even think I had any salads, if I can recall. Not many, 1 or 2 over the course of time, but it was just regular food for the most part. I wasn't tracking calories either. I was just kind of eating what I wanted to eat, eating intuitively, or just, when I want a little snack, want a little treat, I would have that. But yeah, it was just nothing super crazy. So I know if this is what I get by doing, like, a half-ass job at dieting, what it would have looked like had I gone, to the max with it. But also on the other hand, this was what was sustainable for me. If I had gone to the max, I might have been miserable, and I may have given up at some point, just because it was so, being that restrictive and pressing that hard, going at 100% with the diet and going at 100% with the exercise may have been too much. It may have been, that might not have been sustainable for me for those 75 days. And I venture to guess that it wasn't. So yeah, so those are the progress pics. I know that's what, like, people are the most interested in, because that's what everybody is like clamoring about or hoping for, just shooting for it to have this big dramatic physical change over the course of time. But yeah, so those are my results. Let's see what the front facing photos look like. I look pissed on day one. I look pissed on day one in comparison to or just, I don't know, let's hope for the lighting's better. I don't know. I think just things just shifted for me. But yeah, like I said, the waist is the main character, so I definitely see some improvement there. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with the results. So besides the progress pic, just kind of how I took care of myself was a lot of sauna. I did a couple of hot baths. I'm not really a baths person, but I did a couple of hot baths on those hard days, especially in the beginning. But it just got easier as it went along. Self massaging and foam roller, getting enough sleep, getting enough water, getting vitamins, getting electrolytes. Just generally trying to eat as healthful of a diet as I could. Okay, so now we got through the bulk of that. My top tips would be to plan. Don't make so many decisions in the moment, especially with what you're going to eat, because you're going to make worse choices versus if you think ahead and plan ahead. Yeah, particularly with your food and your exercise. And tying in with that is to do things earlier in the day. If you need to meal prep day to day, I don't recommend that. You can prep for a few days at a time. So maybe stop and meal prep for an hour or two twice a week. I think that will work for most people. It may not be, convenient. You might have to do it after work, but do it like on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and then do it Wednesday after work. But you have to make time for the things you want to make time for. If you don't want to meal prep, there's also and it's in your budget. There's also meal prep companies. I've been using CookUnity. I should put a link. I've been using CookUnity, and I recommend them. They do like an intro week, and they have all of the varieties of diets. The first time I've seen, they nobody really has enough vegan meal prep, like pre-cooked meals. In my opinion, nobody's doing that yet. But yeah, for every diet level, they taste good, which is the most important thing to me. They taste good. They have the calorie counts. They have the macro counts. So if you're looking for just something super easy that you don't have to think about, you want to remove cooking from your to-do list, then I recommend looking into a meal kit service. There's meal prep service. They also have meal kit services too, if you want to remove the grocery shopping, or you want to do a vegan diet, or you want to do something like a specific diet and you don't want to have to do the planning portion of it. You want to just pick out what you're eating. I recommend meal kits as well. I like Purple Carrot. They're vegan. They're a little more pricey, which I never really understand why vegan food is more expensive than well, I don't understand that, because meat is more expensive to produce, but I digress. But their stuff usually, I would say 9 out of 10 times tastes good. What is it called? Blue Apron is pretty good. Hello Fresh is kind of basic, but if you don't know how to cook, I would start there. Anyway, find the one that fits you. Planning your meals ahead of time, planning your exercise ahead of time, and doing it earlier in the day, because sometimes in life happens, things happen, your kids get sick, you gotta work late, you got this, you got that, and you'll miss sometimes you'll miss your opportunity to get your exercise in. And 90 minutes is a long time if you don't plan that accordingly, or you plan it for 8 p.m. and then your car breaks down. You never know what's going to happen. So it's in your best interest, and I highly advise you to exercise earlier in the day, so you can just be in more control of whether or not it happens. But yeah, my final thoughts on that are, it was tough. This is definitely one of the most mentally tough times of my life, but in a positive way. This is all for my benefit. This is all for the greater good and the enrichment of my life. So I'm not. Sometimes people say, "Oh, this has been so hard." It's not. It's not a bad thing. It's hard to go through, heartbreak. It's hard to go through poverty. It's hard to go through, loss of a loved one or a death or something like that. Those are hard also, but I think just something being hard, something being difficult isn't necessarily a bad thing if it's for the improvement of yourself, or improvement of your life, and improvement of your relationships. So it was difficult, but in a good way. I would do it again. I plan to do it again at least one more time this year, probably in the fall. yeah, probably just like transitioning in the fall when I get settled. I will be moving soon, so I'm gonna have a moving vlog coming up. If you can guess where I moved in the comments, let me know. Let me or any honestly, let me your recommendations. I have in my mind. I've had it kind of picked out, but you know, I'm not afraid of a good idea. So leave me a comment if you can guess where I'm moving to, or if you have suggestions on where I should move to. But anyway, yeah, I probably do one when I get settled in the fall. I'm going to be traveling a lot and moving around a lot this summer. So just trying to do that on top of 75 hard is going to be 75 cray. So I'm going to, relieve myself of that. But yeah, I'm going to do at least one more this year. I think, so the things I would take with, I'm going to take with me into my life is definitely the dairy aspect. I'd done no dairy a few years ago, and I noticed a difference in just everything, like hormonally, body hair. Ladies, when you get to a certain age, the body hair is coming up in places you didn't expect. So definitely curb that in 75 days, not having any dairy. I've had some since then. I've had some pizza. I had to have some ice cream. Like I just, non-dairy ice cream just doesn't hit. It doesn't hit. So not the way you want it to. But yeah, I had some ice cream, and it was delicious. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like a lot of the stuff I've come back to, like even eating meat again. Like the only thing that I really just stood out to me was burgers. And I even had a thing a few years ago where I wasn't really eating burgers like that. I was just kind of grossed out. But like a cheeseburger, honey, tasty, delicious. 10, 5 out of 10 or 5 stars. But everything else I've had hasn't really been, really been that impressive. So I'm definitely still on a meat light diet. No, and a dairy light. I had some pizza too, and it was more like the cheese. Cheese was cool on like a textural way, but it's like, mm, you know, what else? I haven't had any other dairy. I haven't had any butter. I don't think. No, I had some hollandaise. I had an eggs Benedict or something at one point with some hollandaise on it. Not an eggs Benedict. It had a crab cake Benedict. It had hollandaise and it has butter in it. And then I had some brie bacon, like a waffle. It was really a big bag, but it was delicious. I loved it. So just I feel like the cheese. If I'm gonna have cheese, it needs to be a little more exotic. I'm not gonna go do all that for no mozzarella. I'm not doing all that for provolone. It needs to be something flavorful like brie, like goat cheese, something like that. Yeah, definitely meat light. Definitely very, very dairy light, and just moving along that way. So I think those are definitely things I'm going to continue on focusing on. My protein, that wasn't 75 hard related, but just something I picked up along the way, just really trying to have more protein in my diet throughout the day, and reading self-help on a daily. I'm not trying to be perfect about this. I am habit tracking everything. So but I think the biggest takeaway is just really locking in and setting boundaries for your goals, setting having a plan for your life. Yeah, having a plan for your life, having parameters around your goals, because I feel like sometimes we get into things like, well, I want to diet and lose weight, or I want to do whatever the plan is. It's like you have an end goal, but you don't have any settings, you don't have any restrictions, you don't have any boundaries around what that goal is. So you want to lose weight, you want to diet, you want to get in shape, but you don't have any plan to get there. I'm just going cold turkey. I'm only eating salads for the next 6 weeks. That's not I don't just I feel like just having more structure and more intention and more focusing more on the process versus the end goal can be beneficial, especially getting started with things like losing weight. Focusing on eating better, focusing on getting more movement can be more beneficial to you. Say, okay, I need to lose 10 pounds by the next 2 months. I feel like focusing on the outcome versus focusing on what you're putting into the process is going to be of a detriment, and you're not really focusing on the long-term sustainable habits that you ideally want to build. But yeah, that's it. If you haven't done 75 hard, if you made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you. Like and subscribe. More content to come. I've been slacking lately just from burnout and little return on investment in the way of making this channel into something self-sustaining. Like I'm at this point in the process, I'm just kind of pouring into it and not, quote unquote, not getting anything back in return in the way of feedback and subscribers and money ultimately. But yeah, if you made it this far, please subscribe. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what kind of content you want to see. I'm planning, or I have been running a race every month every month this year. So stay tuned if you're into running and racing and those kind of things. I'm picking up gear. I just got my new watch, so it should be up in a vlog soon. Yeah, I just got my new Rolly. So yeah, that'll be up in the vlog soon. I'll be talking about that a lot more and just taking you on my runs more often. But yeah, this has been a journey. I am very appreciative of the process. I'm very proud of myself. Pats on the back to me because woo, woo. But thank you for watching. Again, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.